So inflation is back. So does that mean another rate hike is on the cards in early 2026? Everyone knows that raising interest rates will not bring down electricity prices.
And we've got a government who, keeps on talking about abolishing negative gearing and all of these things that they're trying to do. The Prime Minister takes advantage of the legal system at the moment.
He's a property investor.
100%.
Two of the major banks are actually looking at a February 2026 hike.
Yep.
So literally next month. And two are expecting a hold. I honestly, if I was to pick right now, I'm going to say, and I don't think interest rates are going to drive down rent prices either. So I think for homeowners, don't panic, don't buy into the bullshit.
Yep. So no surprise, consumer spending increased over the Christmas New Year period. Electricity prices are still obviously high, therefore inflation has shot up, and they're talking about another rate hike.
Well, to be honest, I spent a bit of money, and we both spent a bit of money.
Consumer price index is up in this.
But it's one of those things. It's always going to peak over Christmas. People 100%. Are buying presents. People are going on holidays. So all of those measures in the inflation, I guess, categories are going to spike during that period.
Yeah.
So it's really flooded in the news at the moment where everyone's talking doom and gloom. Rates are going to go up again. So what we're going to do is unpack exactly what's happening in inflation at the moment and what the big four banks are predicting as far as rate increases go.
So in terms of, what's driving it, we've said it multiple times on the podcast, electricity is still up about around that 20%, which is contributing to that inflation figure. So
rent, housing costs again.
Yeah.
And that comes down to the amount of stock available. So vacancy rates are quite low. Of course, that's going to put pressure on rent prices, because if the less of something there is, the more you can charge for it. It's pretty straightforward stuff. And as you said, electricity is aggressively increasing year on year. It's gone up over 20%.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, yes, the inflation, it kind of sucks that they bundle it all into one figure. Yeah. Because if you actually break it up, the things that are, I guess, affected by interest rates, so consumer spending, going out and buying things, holidays, they're at a reasonable level.
Yeah.
They're not too bad. It's the electricity, it's the other factors that are really pushing it higher, like that's gone up 20%.
And that's a completely set. I mean, you can try and pull the lever of interest rates, but it's not going to do anything to electricity prices.
It won't.
That's a different lever to pull.
Like we talked about it earlier, are you going to really go, it's a 40-degree heat day today, I'm not going to have the aircon on because of electricity prices. No, you're going to have it on, you're just going to whinge about
or you're going to go and spend thousands on solar panels.
And that's 20, 30,000, and then you have to run all your equipment during the day only, unless you buy batteries, and then they catch on fire all the time, and they cost a ridiculous amount.
But the biggest thing in the short term that isn't surprising, like electricity prices, is that consumer spending. Obviously, that increased over the holiday period. That's going to continue. That's going to contribute to inflation. And I think inflation's increased from 2.7 to 3.6% or something like that. So obviously, it has picked up, and they want to try and control it. Whether it is just that media influence, like you always talk about, Brad, are they trying to sort of slow down consumer spending and just say, "Hey, look."
Well, that is one of the levers.
And we'll,
so you've got a few different ways to do it. The first one is obviously telling everyone you're going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's the phase we're at now. Yeah. Is let's just feed it into the media that rates are going to go up, you better start controlling your spending. Yeah. Personally, I don't think that works too good. Yeah.
I think, and that's the thing. It really depends on
people are over it.
What source of information you read, these chances of a rate hike, because you've got some economists saying that there's a 1 in 3 chance that they're going to do it in February, and then 2/3 of a chance they're going to do it by the end of 2026. Yep. But then other articles that you read, they're saying there's a higher probability for it to happen in February. Yep.
So I think, the easy fix for a government when they've got a situation like this where electricity prices are out of hand, housing's, out of hand, the easy fix for them is just to increase rates. Yeah. But I don't think in this situation it's always the best option. No. There's other things they could do to bring down electricity prices apart from having to put up interest rates. Yeah. And we know, everyone knows that raising interest rates will not bring down electricity prices. They just are not linked in that way in any shape or form.
And we've spoken about it before, but it's like it's not incentivizing people to trade their property because it's already an expensive asset to trade. You've got real estate agent fees, bloody buyer's agents cost you a fortune. You've got stamp duty, and then you're paying increased interest rates if you try and upsize your house. So it's a very expensive exercise, and because it's so expensive, interest rates are contributing to people not selling their property.
And I don't think interest rates are going to drive down rent prices either.
100%.
Like, if you increase the cost to the landlord, they're going to they're going to pass on those costs.
Yeah, and if it's more expensive to purchase or hold a property, less people are going to purchase property. So it's accessibility to the market where it's more expensive to buy a property, so I've got to continue to rent.
So in my opinion, there needs to be more done around creating more housing, especially for investors, to bring down those rent prices, instead of just absolutely hammering the property market at the moment, which they're doing with 5% deposit schemes, all these things. They're driving prices up. There's a lot more they could be doing besides just that. Yeah. That the first home loan deposit scheme is really driving the existing house market.
Yeah.
What are they doing to encourage investors, especially, to build
100%.
townhouses, to build units,
Yeah.
and really open up that rental market and decrease the rent?
Exactly.
That's what needs to happen.
And we've got a government who keeps on talking about abolishing negative gearing and all of these things that they're trying to do. The Prime Minister takes advantage of the legal system at the moment.
He's a property investor.
100%.
So I think we'll look now at what the big four banks are doing. So two of the major banks are actually looking at a February 2026 hike.
Yep.
So literally next month. And two are expecting a hold. I honestly, if I was to pick right now, I'm going to say hold.
Doesn't give you much confidence, does it?
It's 50-50. Let's flip a coin. I'm going to say hold. What are you going to lock in?
I'm going to go hold as well.
You're going to go hold?
Yeah.
I just think that it would be a lot smarter to wait until the middle of the year to let everything play out.
You can't make a decision based on consumer spending over Christmas because we know consumer spending increases every year during Christmas.
No. Keep an eye on it on a monthly basis, but make a decision on a quarterly.
Yeah.
That's my honest opinion on it. So I think for homeowners, don't panic, don't buy into the bullshit. I think just, as always, if you've got a bit of cash flow, try and build up some cash savings.
And I think it was one of our most recent episodes. We did the boom and bust report that's released by SQM Research every year. It was 8 to 15% market increase for interest rate decreases.
Yeah.
But it was a 6 to 8% increase still with 2 interest rate hikes.
Yeah.
So regardless of what happens with interest rates, the forecast is that it's still going to grow.
Oh, 100%. I don't think even one rate increase would affect the property market at all, to be honest.
No.
Look at what happened during, was it 2023 when the rates went up?
Yeah.
Property prices still went up.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't think it's going to be doom and gloom like the media is making out, but it would be a pretty shitty headline if they said rates are going to go up and everyone will be fine.
Yeah.
You won't even notice.
For existing mortgage holders, just try and be conservative with your approach. Don't go and absolutely max out your borrowing capacity.
I'm a big believer of having buffers.
Yeah.
Don't live week to week and have zero in anything. If you can have 5, 10, 20 grand in an offset account that stays in there all the time, then you've got that safety net. And that should be a big focus. Even if you pulled out equity to do so. So yes, you're borrowing that buffer, but that buffer's always sitting there then. That's never a bad idea.
If you get made redundant or if interest rate rises and you can't afford the surplus, whatever it is.
It's sitting there. You can pull that out as you need it. If you go through a bad economic time as a household and you need to apply for more finance at that time, that's when you're up shit creek because you can't access the funds at that point. But if you have that buffer sitting there in an offset account, doesn't have to be huge, 30 grand or whatever, then that comes in real hand. It comes in handy in these situations.
And your repayments might be slightly more, but you're not being charged as much interest because it's in an offset.
Correct.
So
you're just pulling funds out of one pocket into another essentially.
Smart way in your pocket than the banks.
Correct. So that's it for today. I know it was a bit of a doom and gloom one, but not for us. Personally, I think everything's going to be okay. It'll stay on hold. I'm hoping that the RBA shows a little bit of common sense and doesn't just go, rates.
Hold February, revisit.
And I personally
later.
think Labor government's already in enough hot water as it is at the moment, they're going to be pushing pretty hard to not have rates go up.
100%.
That's gonna look pretty shitty on them. So
100%.
I think the government might step in that case if the RBA is looking to increase rates.
Yeah.
That's it for this one, and we'll see everyone on the next one.
See you on the next one.